Hello everybody, welcome to Crafty Soup. My name is Misty and I am back today with my next layout process video for the Layout a Day challenge. Now normally I will work from prompts from this challenge, but you don't have to, and today I'm not going to because I've got other things on my mind. So I am going to do a stamping and watercoloring layout for you today. It's a pretty simple technique if you want to give this a try. I am going to use rainbows, but you could do this with any stamped image. And it's a fun way to add easy mixed media to your background. So I am using watercolor paper. You don't need any special mediums besides your stamping ink and watercolor paper. And I am going to use this Concord and 9th stamp, and I am stamping 2 sets of rainbows, and so I will use the same stamp twice before I clean it off. And before I clean it off, I will wet that stamp down with some water and use the extra ink that's left over to add spatters to my background. So I am getting more texture and dimension with not as much extra effort. So I am going to just let this video play for you for a little bit as you take a look at my process, and pardon my head and my brightly colored hair. My girls offered to do my hair while they were doing theirs, and I said, why not? Now that you've seen most of my process, let me go ahead and give you a few tips. So once I stamped each rainbow, I dipped my paintbrush in clean water and I ran my paintbrush along each stripe of the rainbow, trying not to overlap the other color, but if you do, that's okay, and it might bleed into each other, and that's okay too. You might get some interesting textural effects when they do bleed into each other, so just know that. And then I'm going to kind of drag that puddle of color to the end of the rainbow. And then if I feel like I need more pigment, I'll rub my stamp block or my stamp pad on a block and then pick up more color from there with my paintbrush like I'm doing here. And then as I add it to that drip at the end of the rainbow, it will send more saturation to it. Now, know that watercolor likes to follow a wet track. So if that drip runs into a previous drip line, it will tend to follow that previous drip line. And if you don't want that to happen, go ahead and use your paintbrush to draw a track down the paper more or less where you want it to run. And then my camera battery died, so this next step didn't get caught. I stamped, there's a cloud print in there that has kind of a hash mark to it, and I stamped several layers of that in 2 different inks, and I kind of blended out some of the clouds to give a softer look to those. And then I die cut my photo using the rainbow dies with this stamp, and I really wasn't sure that look was going to work. I'm still not sure it's great, but it did give me the opportunity to do some interesting to add some dimension to my title by curving it around those rainbows. Mostly I die cut it because my feet were in the picture and I wanted to get my feet out of the picture because I wanted to focus on my kitty. And today's layout is here because when I took him to the vet today, he got diagnosed with cancer, and I was just feeling sad, and he's been sick for a while, and so I'm not terribly surprised that this happened, but you know, it's still kind of surprising when you get that news. So I was processing my feelings through color and texture and art, and I share it with you because I live a real life, and I hope to show you all the parts of it. Now, I'm not going to put my journaling on this layout because it is kind of a raw mess of rambling thoughts. So I will leave that part for later. However, I will show you how I add my journaling space. I use a journaling stamp. Now, it's not as wide as I wanted it to be for this layout, so I do stamp it twice, and I just eyeball overlapping those lines, and because they're straight lines, it works out mostly. But I'm going to help that look less forced and jagged by continuing with this mixed media. So I'm taking my damp paintbrush, not wet paintbrush, and I'm just dragging it across those, excuse me, and I'm just dragging it across those lines to blend the overlap more. And you can still see it a little bit, but it does help some. And then I finish off my layout with some hearts in the rainbow matching colors. And this layout is a mixture of happy and sad all at the same time. And I needed that feeling today because I love this kitty and I'm sad to see him go, but I'm glad he was in our lives. So before I start crying, I'm going to say thank you for watching. I'm glad you joined me for my videos. I hope you're enjoying my daily process video. And I will be back tomorrow with another process video for you. And again next week with weekday daily videos. I do take a break on the weekends. So I do hope you will join me for my future videos, and I will see you next time.